This is Sway.
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 In the morning.
In the morning.
In the morning.
Shake your body.
Wake your fuck ass up. That crust on you.
Ourselves between a rock and a hard place, between frying pan and fire, grasping at definitions like lifelines. Who are we?
It's unfortunate to know that we still live in a world of discrimination. There's nowhere to go.
That was clips from a documentary called The Same Difference, which is about lesbians who discriminate against other lesbians based on gender roles. And we have brought back out of hiatus the School of Sex with Tracy G.
Oh, yes. Out the oven, man.
By popular demand. And in today's focus, Tracy G?
Well, this is really for sexual intellectuals. Because like you were saying, Sway, I got put on to a really, really insightful documentary, The Same Difference. And it puts a spotlight on the Black LGBT community in a way that I felt was hella necessary and also very overdue. Because we're talking about internal homophobia, which sounds weird. Like it shouldn't exist.
Internal homophobia.
Yes, as well as gender roles, which I feel like on the Lilo has just been plaguing my squad.
Okay.
And so I brought the director of this documentary, and this is her first time ever directing a film, and she did a freaking awesome job. And this is Neka Onara. Am I saying the name?
Neka Onara, perfect. Yeah.
Neka Onara.
Yeah.
What up, Sway? What up, Tracy?
Neka? How you doing?
I'm wonderful.
Congratulations on this documentary.
Thank you so much. It means a lot to be here.
Yeah.
Oh, good to have you here. What? I mean, it's, listen, I ain't gonna act like I know it all, and we always every day damn near talk about the layers of all of this, and Tracy G tries to give us, she does her best to give us some insight.
Now I got backup.
So, discrimination towards lesbians by other lesbians.
Yes, there's discrimination definitely from lesbians to other lesbians, because in the lesbian community, especially the African-American lesbian community and a lot of minority cultures, there's labels, and there's an aggressive and a masculine presenting woman, which they call studs and AGs, and then there's the feminine women, which we call femmes.
Okay.
So in a general relationship, there will be a masculine presenting woman and a feminine presenting woman, and they will be in a relationship. But anytime you go against that, there's chaos, there's issues, people get ostracized, people get beat up sometimes. You have to keep a structure and balance, and if you don't keep that balance, then there are consequences, and that's why I created this film.
What is considered going against that?
Okay, so in the film we have a couple of examples. So let's say two masculine presenting women or two studs date each other. That's considered double gay.
Double gay?
That's considered double gay. Yeah,
double gay.
Basically a sin in the gay community.
It's like a sin in the gay community. It's like two masculine people that don't look right, and even some lesbians that I interviewed during the documentary said, "Well, two masculine women dating each other, that's like two gay guys." So it's like, okay, well, are you now discriminating against gay men now?
That's weird, confusing, right? Because that's the same judgment that the community protests against from people who are heterosexual. Right?
Correct.
So you're doing it, and the community is doing it to itself?
Right. Absolutely doing it to itself. Another example of that is studs who get pregnant. There's a lot of memes online and a lot of banter about aggressive women having babies. It's like almost like you're not a woman. You know what I'm saying? Like you're trying to portray a man, so why are you trying to have a baby? So they get discriminated against as well.
So now that's confusing, right?
It can be, but people are very multidimensional, and also you have to remember, like, there's a difference between gender and sex. And gender is more of the identity you choose. Sex is something that you just, once you're out the womb, you already got it. You don't have to prove it. And so if you have like your sexual organs, you can have a baby, and there's not necessarily something that is, it shouldn't go under the construct of femininity. Yeah. And that's the only way you have it. But my question for you too, Neka, is because when we were initially talking about like AG, two of them that are in a relationship, and how, in the gay community that's looked at as taboo, is it because a lot of folks feel like you should be like simulating heterosexual type relationships where it should always be a masculine and a feminine?
It's a very heteronormative idea. Like before Stonewall, when people first started being outward about themselves in America as lesbian couples, a lot of times couples would dress, one would dress feminine, one would dress masculine, so they could walk down the street without getting harassed by a cop. Before we had Pride. So that's kind of where the structure of it started. But our people took it to a whole nother level and said, you know what, I can be normalized if I play these gender roles. And also it's about vulnerability too. A lot of aggressive women don't want to be seen as vulnerable to their woman, to their girlfriend. So it's like, I have to uphold this masculine persona, and I can't let you touch me sexually, and I can't have a baby, and I can't cry. You know, it's very similar to men, straight men.
What we go through as straight men. Wow. Man, I want to open up the phone lines.
Yeah.
All right. And if you've experienced this kind of, how did you call it? Internal discrimination. Homophobia.
Right.
Or you have a family member you know that has, or a friend. 888-742-3345. Call us.
They just feel like two aggressive girls shouldn't be together. They're like two gay guys. So they call us faggots in the gay community. What color you want to wear? I'm wearing red and white.
That was an excerpt from the documentary, The Same Difference. We're in the middle of the School of Sex with Tracy G.
We are, man. And I think we're having a really important, high-priority conversation, whether you consider yourself a part of the LGBT community or outside of it. We're focusing on this documentary called The Same Difference, like you said, Sway, and it pretty much centers on internal homophobia and all the discrimination that is layered within the LGBT community, particularly when it comes to us black folks. And we have the director of this documentary, Neka Onara, is with us.
So have you experienced this yourself, Neka?
I actually have. When I was growing up in high school, I came out, and then I had a girl come up to me and like, so what are you? Are you a stud or are you a femme? Because I've always been aggressive, but there's always been femininity within me as well. So I felt like I needed to pick a side. Like sometimes I wear extensions in my hair. Sometimes I wear baggy pants but a tight shirt. And I didn't feel like I had to fit in one or the other. So with that, some of that discrimination that I got, I was strong enough to stand up against it. So once I became a television producer later in life, I'm like, I need to help other people who go through this, you know, when they're coming out in high school or whatever age they're coming out at, to know that I don't have to pick a side. I could be who I am and be confident about it. So
you work over at BT?
I used to work at BT,
Okay.
yes, for 6 years.
For 6 years?
Yeah, for 6 years.
So you know Elon and
I know
Johnson,
Elon,
Monique?
Bree, yep, everybody.
Yeah,
Butterman.
You know Butter?
Yep, Stephen Hill.
Stephen Hill? Okay, you know Elon and Monique are the people that trained me when I came to TV.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I give a lot of my success on TV to them.
Yeah, they definitely helped.
That's a side note.
Sidebar.
That has nothing to do with anything.
Right.
But
Fun fact of the day.
Point that out. All right, we're going to talk to some of the citizens that have had similar experiences. We got Tay on the line from South Carolina. Good morning, Tay. How you doing?
Tay.
What's up?
What's up, Tay? Talk to us. What's going on? You've experienced this?
Oh, man, I'm a stud myself, man.
Okay.
I'm a stud myself, and I used to be in the military, so he was even tougher on me.
How so?
Oh, man, because, you know, of course, everybody knows in the military, that's the gay community is big in the military. But at the same time, you're being judged. So if you have a crush or you got something going on with someone just like you, they're like, oh, you ain't really gay. You don't know what you want, or they'll tell you, oh, you can't talk to them because if you wanted that, then you could have easily just talked to a guy. That's just gay, man. You a faggot. Like they bash you. They bash you really bad about it. And my thing is, you can't control what the heart wants.
Right. Have you always been attracted to more aggressive types?
Yeah, I have. Like I said, you can't. Even though you're aggressive, that doesn't stop your feelings. That doesn't stop who you are as a person. That doesn't stop your personality. So it really doesn't matter if you're aggressive. It matters if I like you or not.
Okay.
You know, this is kind of, if we're honest with ourselves, just a lot of confusion, perhaps, maybe. And, you know, a lot of times when people react that way is due to ignorance, you know. And so just like the heterosexual community, it just seems like in the gay community, it's still that level of ignorance. What kind of education can people take or, you know, to just kind of develop more tolerance and acceptance of people for just being people?
I think, if you want to be accepted yourself, you have to be able to accept and be open to ways that are different than what you know or how you grew up, you know? And it comes with being cultured. It comes with seeing different things. And a lot of people aren't getting that exposure. Yeah. So this is not a film judging people for, you know, hypocrisy, because we all do it in a sense. When we don't know something, we're like, whoa. You know what I'm saying? So if anything, it's to educate and teach, hey, this might not be something that you do, but it doesn't mean that you need to ostracize people. It doesn't mean that you need to protest against people. It doesn't mean that you need to treat people in a negative way, you know, in order to, you know, just expose them and feel comfortable, right? So I think that that's very important. And also, we just need to educate ourselves in general that we need to come together and stop separating ourselves, because you can't have a movement if your people aren't together. You know?
But see, it's a lot of separation within the gay community too, because when I'm hearing studs, I'm hearing all these
They hate
terms.
bisexuals. They hate
bisexual, AGs. I don't know.
That's another topic.
Films. I mean, it's like all these categories. It's what they, you put people in these categories, you automatically are dividing and separating, right?
Bisexual women get it really, really bad. Because it's like, oh, you're confused. You don't know what you want. Mm-hmm. One day you want a guy. One day you want this, Mm-hmm. Even in my film, someone has to have a coming out party to say she's dating a man. When have you ever seen that? These things happen. And you have to have a coming out party normally when you tell somebody that you're dating a woman. But you have to have a coming out party just to say, hey, guys, I hope you're okay with this, but I'm dating a man. Yeah. So people don't know that this exists. It's really, really heavy in the game. And it's same thing. Snoop from The Wire is also a part of this film as well. And she deals with, trying to be versatile for her career. Mm-hmm. Because sometimes, she has to get girly. She was in a Spike Lee film. Yeah. And, she played a hooker and she showed her breast and she kissed a man, and people aren't used to that. So they're like, oh, you're a traitor. And she's like, I'm trying to make money. You know what I'm saying? This has nothing to do with my personal life. So it's really deep.
She pulled that off, too, but you can see it was a slight struggle. I saw the clip. Spike came up here. He was like, yeah, what do you think, Sway? I said, she pulled it off, but I could see she was like, yeah. Shabazz on the line from Nebraska. Good morning, Shabazz.
Shabazz.
Hey, what's going on, Sway?
How you doing, Shabazz?
Hey, man, listen, I listen to you every morning in the Midwest, baby. I'm loving you, baby.
My man, Shabazz. Have the beat. We got to give out to citizens. Oh, Heather's not in the room. All right, Shabazz. Tracy, help me. You're a citizen.
I'll do it. A Sway in the morning.
Shabazz, that's what's up.
There it is. There it is.
There it is.
Listen, I'm going to tell you now. I'm Muslim. Both of my daughters are gay. You understand? And I have to explain to my Muslim brothers that what our children do sexually, we cannot be involved in it. Now, what you can do is that you can take your ignorance and draw a wedge between you and your family, or you can accept what God has already put his hand in. Do you understand what I'm saying, Sway?
Mm-hmm. Speak on it, Shabazz.
So in your existence or how God made you, there's no need for titles. What you do to pleasure your sexual longing is private. So even though you bringing it out here, that's why the woman wears the veil. You know what I'm saying? Everything is private. So what you do in the privacy behind your doors to please you don't make no difference what another motherfucker think. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like I told my daughter, she's married. You understand? She's so-called a stud. You understand what I'm saying? But I knew my daughter was gay when she was in the third grade. You understand?
How did you know? How did you figure that?
This is how I knew. Because there was nothing feminine about my daughter. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Forget about the tomboyishness. You understand? It was more than just tomboy. To put a dress on her, pantyhose on her, it's a fight. You understand? But so I had to accept that my thought, I didn't know, but my thought. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But as my thought came and progressed, and it was. So it's all about, you got to, man, listen, this is our life, your life, my life. You understand me? Another motherfucker can't live this for me. You understand?
That's what's up. Shabazz, man. And listen, that's a side that we very seldom hear. We don't hear about heterosexual fathers that may have homosexual or gay daughters. So Shabazz, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
All right.
Tell this one, that lovely lady, I'm going to watch that documentary, and I'm going to tell my daughters to watch the documentary.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So they can be educated about what's going on.
That's what's up, Shabazz. How can the people get to the documentary? How can they see it?
Well, we have screenings coming up. We have one on August 29th in D.C. They can go to realaffirmationsfilmfestival.org. To purchase tickets. That's on the 29th of this month. During Atlanta Pride and Luda Day weekend, September 5th, there's another screening at Midtown Arts Cinema. They can go to samedifferenceatlanta.eventbrite.com, purchase tickets, follow the Same Difference Doc on Instagram, and they'll have all the updates there. And also, to the father, I just want to say, like, a lot of times in the households, a lot of these rules come from what we see in our homes. The structures we see, we try to emulate those in our own community, those same structures. We're like, well, if we see our mother telling our father not to cry, he needs to be a man, and we are trying to emulate a man, then we go repeat that same behavior in the lesbian community. So sometimes how you grow up has an effect on your sexual and your romantic relationships. So sometimes that's an issue as well.
Right.
How can people who aren't see this show broadcasts worldwide? I just stunned it on you.
Yeah.
All right.
No,
So
you didn't catch it.
how can people who aren't on the East Coast, like when they went, wouldn't it be available for just somebody in Nebraska to see this?
Right. Very soon. We're about to get a streaming deal that I can't announce yet, but it's coming. And they'll be able to see it on streaming worldwide.
Okay.
soon.
And then is it a website for more information?
Yes. The Same Difference documentary.tumblr.com will have all the updates and announcements.
The Same Difference documentary.tumblr.
Tumblr.com. Yep,
okay.
absolutely.
Get up on it.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much, Sway.
Right.
I appreciate it, Tracy.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Nay.
Okay, and if you guys want to reach out to Tracy G.
Yeah. Hit me on Twitter, Instagram, at It's Tracy G, ITS, ACY.
It's Sway in the morning, only
On Shade 45.